everyone, and today I'm going to be bringing you the last part of creating a dev console for your games in GameMaker. So today we're going to be talking about styling, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a draw GUI, and in here we're just going to be drawing console. So I'm just going to go ahead and type all this out, and I'll go ahead and explain it afterwards. Okay, so first we start this styling off with saying that if the console's not enabled, then we're not going to draw what's in here. And then we're just setting a few backgrounds, so the background for the text, the alpha for the text background, and then we're finally drawing that rectangle with those parameters just as the size of the room, or the size of the console. I mean, these variables we set in the create event. And then we do the same thing for drawing the line at the bottom. We just draw a white background, -20 vertically, so that it is still within the same size of the console. Then down here we draw the text array, so all the commands that you've recently put in and the log, the console log. So we set the font, set the primary color in the alpha, and then we set a variable here as the length of our text array. And then down here we create a for loop saying that we're just going to loop through that text lines, and then we're going to create this line size so that we have the right spacing, and then we're just going to draw those values within this array to a new line. And then down here we just draw the line text, so we set a few values here for styling, and then we just draw the text appropriately, hashing it to a new line, what we are currently typing plus the cursor, which will be blinking as well. A few things I forgot to mention in the last video in the step event. This console enabling right here, this is inside of this loop here. So if you disable the console, it's just gonna never let you enable it again because this enable function is not outside of that loop. So we're just gonna cut this, and we're just gonna paste it up here. And then also down here I made a mistake. I can't just add the left shift and the right shift key. I actually have to make a case event for the shift key in general. So you have to say VK shift. And then if you wanted to add the control keys as well, I'll just do an example for this real quick. We're just going to say case VK control. And then, oops, I made a mistake here, typo. And then you have to do individual cases for the left and the right. So left control. Now left control is set in there, and then we'll do another one for the right one. So R control. And then you can just do that for as many keys as you want. Just make sure that if there's multiple keys, you have to add the overall key, which is control or shift. And then that'll allow us to finally type those certain conflict keys in. Okay, so now we're going to move on to creating your own commands. And I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how to make a command that just creates an object where you want it in the room. So that's pretty standard debugging function I think that every console should have. So I'm going to make sure that you guys have that script that you can learn from that as well. So real quickly, I'm just going to create a sprite, and I'm just going to make it a circle. So I'm not even going to name it. And I'm just going to make this a a white circle here and center it. Okay, and then I'm going to create an object for that sprite, and then we're just going to name this obj test just to keep things simple. And I'm not even going to have anything in this object. I'm just going to add that test sprite in there. And since that's white, I want to make sure our room is going to be able to show that, and it's all black. So I'm going to change that background color real quick. I'll just change it to that color. That'll work. All right. And then anytime you want to create your own command, you're just going to create a script. And make sure that your function name inside of the script name in GameMaker 2.3, they have to be the same, or this console isn't going to work correctly. So I'm just going to name this one create obj, and then it changes that automatically, but just make sure those are the same. And then in here you add whatever parameters you want. So I'm going to say we're going to need an x and a y, and then we're also going to need the object name. So this is pretty simple, and we're just going to say variable x equals the real value of our x variable we're putting in. We're going to do the same thing for y. And then to get the object, I'm going to say var object equals asset get index. We're going to use that. And then we're just going to go ahead and put in our obj parameter there. And then we have to check and see if the object actually exists. So we're going to say if object does not equal -1, so if there's actually a value associated with it, we're going to go ahead and create instance create layer, and we're going to say our x value, our y value, and then we're going to need a layer, and we'll just say instances default layer, and then our object, which is object. Now the cool thing is in these scripts that you make, you can use that logging function we made earlier to actually log errors and such to the console. So down here we're going to say if the object doesn't exist, just log to the console that the instance doesn't exist. Okay, so that should be about it. There's also one more thing. If you want to turn one of these parameters into a string, so say you want to make a file within this console, you have to convert it into a string, and you can't really just say like var s equals string underscore x. It's not going to return the right value. It's going to give you errors saying that, you know, invalid data type or whatever. So you have to set the variable up. We're going to say, let's say str var str, and then you're going to say str plus equals string of, you know, let's say it's x, and you have to add the string characters onto the end of it. So that's how you do that, and then you just call this str variable when you want to use, you know, what you assigned it to. So that's how you do that. So I'll go ahead and run this, and I'll show you guys what this looks like. So here the console pops up. You want to enable it or disable it, you press that key that we assigned, and then I'm going to go ahead and call that function we made, create obj, let's say 300, 300, and then our name was obj test. Press enter, and then there's our object. It was created. And you could do the same thing for, you know, destroying objects or whatever. You just have it so you'd put in the ID of the object. You can make it show IDs. You can pretty much do anything you want with this console. It's pretty flexible and pretty dynamic. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this series. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time.